The day she called my Purple Heart service dog a violation was the day I decided to show her what a real violation looks like. You ever have one of those mornings when the universe decides to slap you awake just to see how you'll react? That was me, standing there at 6 a.m., barely awake, squinting at some official-looking notice taped right at my eye level. No person in sight, just this piece of cheap paper, bleeding red ink, basically screaming at me. Immediate removal of oversized aggressive breed dog required or face $500 daily fines. And there I am, in my boxers and a worn-out Army t-shirt, feeling the Arizona morning air and already getting that familiar thump in my chest. My German Shepherd, Rex, is sitting right by me, his service vest on, looking up like he's saying, "We're doing this again, huh?" The dog's 4 years old, professionally trained for PTSD, and honestly, probably more composed than I'll ever be. But here's this notice, labeling him a danger. What would you do if someone tried to take your lifeline? No, really. Tell me, because I bet your HOA's got stories too. Let me rewind a bit, give you the full picture. My name's Garrett, 34. I've got 2 tours in Iraq, a Purple Heart, and enough shrapnel souvenirs to set off airport alarms. A year and a half ago, my marriage blew up. Turns out, the guy my wife was just friends with at the gym was a little more than that. So, I needed a place where Rex and I could just breathe. Meadowbrook Estates looked perfect. Middle-class Phoenix suburb, desert air, the smell of creosote and fresh asphalt, sprinklers ticking along manicured lawns. I picked this house for the backyard, mostly. Somewhere Rex could run off his anxiety and mine. He's not just a pet. Rex is my anchor. When my hands start shaking or my breath gets weird, he's already there, pressing in, grounding me. He's got skills that cost the VA more than most cars. Deep pressure therapy, crowd navigation. He even wakes me from nightmares. But apparently, none of that matters if Brenda from down the street decides you're a problem. Picture every power-tripping substitute teacher you've ever had. Put her in a white BMW with HOA vanity plates and give her legal authority over your life. That's Brenda. She's been in the neighborhood 8 years, but you'd think she founded the place. Always timing her power walks to catch folks in the act. Arms folded, lips pursed like she's been chewing lemons for sport. She knocked on my door 3 weeks before the violation incident. 7 sharp, like harassment, was on her calendar. Perfume so strong it lingered after she left. Your dog's barking disturbs the peace, she said, which is wild because my neighbor Mrs. Olivia swears she's never heard Rex bark. I told Brenda, calmly, like the VA taught us to deal with civilians who don't get invisible wounds, that he's a service animal. Her answer? I don't see any blindness here. When I mentioned ADA laws, she smiled that cold, tight smile and said, "We'll see about that." That's when I knew it wasn't about barking. It was about power. Most of my neighbors are good people. Mrs. Olivia brings Rex homemade treats, tells stories about her husband's days in the service. The Rodriguez family kids think Rex is a superhero. Even Bob, the mailman, stops to scratch Rex's ears. But Brenda? She's got allies on the HOA board, enough to tip any vote. Turns out she'd been gathering evidence, surveillance footage, noise complaints, building her case with military precision. Rex's one incident was barking at a raccoon rummaging through trash at 11 p.m. Any normal person would let it go. Not Brenda. She had Ring camera footage and a printout of the HOA noise covenant. But here's where my own training kicked in. I started digging. The original 2008 HOA rules. Service animals were specifically exempt from breed and size restrictions. That clause was missing from the updated 2019 version, like conveniently deleted. Mrs. Olivia tipped me off that Brenda was recruiting neighbors to spy, asking them to document incidents. Rodriguez, said Brenda, threatened their fence permit if they didn't cooperate. 3 foreclosed homes in our neighborhood, all previous targets of Brenda's campaigns. That's when I realized this wasn't about noise or dogs. It was about money and control. 72 hours after our last talk, a certified letter arrives, thick enough to use as a doorstop. Emergency hearing. Multiple violations. The letter was CC'd to all board members, like Brenda wanted a paper trail of due process. Show up or pay $500 a day until Rex was gone. I stood there, coffee in hand, Rex pressed against my legs, his eyes saying, "We've survived worse." And I thought, you picked the wrong guy to mess with. I spent the next evening poring over federal law. My VA counselor's words echoed. Federal law always trumps local rules with disability accommodations. The Americans with Disabilities Act isn't just a suggestion. It's constitutional. HOAs can't override it, period. But the real goldmine was the deleted Animal Protection Clause. Buried in old web archives Brenda probably thought no one would find. By the next day, my neighborhood intel network was humming. Olivia, her Brenda, was ramping up surveillance. Even Bob, the mailman, warned me she was asking pointed questions about my delivery schedule. She was building a prosecution case, as if Rex was a criminal. So I set up cameras, documented every interaction, time-stamped everything. Then Brenda started psychological warfare, driving past my house during Rex's yard time, phone out, ready to catch something. Her exhaust hung in the air like a bad omen. While reviewing her patterns, I stumbled across something big. 3 foreclosed homes, all bought up by buyers Brenda's realty company represented. Not a coincidence. It was a pattern, pressure, violations, forced sales, Brenda cashing in. I called the families who'd been forced out. Same playbook, violations, fines, friendly, offers from Brenda to help them escape the HOA. It was predatory, illegal under fair housing laws. But she'd made a fatal mistake. She picked a veteran with federal protections and the tenacity to see this through. The night of the hearing came. Brenda stacked the board. Her allies, all with something to lose or gain. But she went too far. 2 days before, she sent a community-wide email. Dangerous dogs in our neighborhood. Painting Rex as a threat. Left out his service status, of course. That evening, the clubhouse smelled of carpet cleaner and nerves. Rex wore his vest. I had every document, federal law, service records, the old HOA covenants. I recorded everything because in Arizona, that's legal. Brenda ran the meeting with ironclad procedure, limiting my time, gavel in hand. Chuck, her ally, questioned Rex's legitimacy. Anyone could buy a vest online, he sneered. That's when Rex, sensing my stress, slid across my feet and did his therapy thing, proving his worth better than any words could. Even Chuck had to look away. I presented the deleted covenants, demanded the board produce meeting minutes for the vote that removed protections. Silence. There were no records. Brenda had deleted them herself, thinking nobody would check. Mrs. Olivia testified. Rex is a gentleman dog. Problem is not dog. Problem is people who make trouble for good neighbors. The whole room felt it, the injustice. The board still voted against me, 4-3. But the tide was turning. Neighbors were whispering, seeing the truth. The Rodriguez family wanted my attorney's number. Mrs. Patterson mentioned garden gnome violations. Brenda wasn't just after me. She was running the same scam on the whole neighborhood. Next day, Brenda delivered a formal notice. Fines started immediately, with a sheriff's deputy in tow. She was playing hardball, but it showed desperation. The more she pushed, the more evidence she left. I called Amanda Torres, a legal aid attorney for veterans. She took one look at the case and said, "Beautiful. Civil rights violations, insurance loopholes. Brenda and every board member could be held personally liable." Brenda ramped up the harassment. Hired a PI, parked vans on the street, snapped photos of Rex doing well dog things. She contacted my ex-wife, fishing for dirt about my mental health. Even tried getting animal control to seize Rex with a fabricated, dangerous animal complaint. Officer Martinez came to my door, saw the service vest, the paperwork, the medals, and said, Mr. Morrison, this is clearly a bogus report. Frankly, I'm tired of HOA drama. Then Brenda started a social media smear campaign. Fake accounts spreading rumors about my fake PTSD, photos of Rex out of uniform, trying to make him look like just a pet. But with my IT background and a little help from Miguel, the Rodriguez's tech-savvy son, we traced it all back to Brenda. Documented every click. The neighborhood rallied. Signs went up. We support our veterans. Mrs. Olivia's kitchen turned into Rex's treat bakery. The mailman started lingering, letting Rex know he wasn't alone. Brenda's attacks got sloppier. She bribed a city inspector, tried to sabotage my job, even attempted to steal Rex while I was at a VA appointment. Every move backfired, now with police records to match. She went so far as to obtain my confidential VA records and read them at a meeting. You could feel the outrage. Amanda nearly dropped her coffee. Brenda had just committed a federal offense in front of a dozen witnesses. Civil rights complaints. HIPAA violations. The dominoes started to fall. The final board meeting was packed. Cameras, neighbors, veterans groups. Brenda opened with a speech about community safety that even her allies didn't buy anymore. Mrs. Olivia spoke. The Rodriguez family brought a petition. Dr. Kim, the vet, testified about Rex's temperament. I explained ADA law, how service animals have rights, how discrimination isn't just immoral, it's illegal. Amanda presented the case. Brenda exploded, yelling about fake veterans and oversized dogs. Her meltdown was caught on camera. The board voted. Brenda out. All violations against me and Rex dropped. Formal apology. Legal fees reimbursed. Brenda left in a rage, but that was it. She lost her presidency, her job, her house, everything she'd tried to protect by bullying others. The new board rewrote the rules, made Rex's law to protect service animals. My neighborhood went from battlefield to family. Brenda ended up with criminal charges, community service at a veterans center, and a real estate license suspended pending investigation. The house she tried to save? Sold to a military family with a German Shepherd mix that now plays with Rex in our new dog park. Funded by embezzled HOA money recovered after her financial fraud was exposed. You want a lesson from all this? Here it is. Stand your ground. Know your rights. Document everything. Because sometimes the best way to win is to let the bully dig their own grave. And when justice comes, it doesn't always wear a judge's robe. Sometimes it wags its tail, sits calmly by your side, and reminds you what dignity looks like. So have you ever faced down an HOA tyrant or a neighbor with too much power? Drop your story in the comments. Where's the line between protecting a neighborhood and protecting yourself? Because the only way bullies win is if we stay silent. And I, for one, am done being silent.